That may be the greatest catch I've ever seen in my life.
Okay, I've been having so much fun with these buy low videos, whether it's running backs, whether it's wide receivers. You know, we're going to continue to cover it. I mean, over the past few weeks, we had to make an exception to the rule. We had to go through and include a tight end on our buy low video just because Kyle Pitts was a screaming buy low, given the opportunity that he was seeing in the Atlanta Falcons offense, knowing that he was going to continue to progress because he was a 20-year-old tight end. And yeah, I'm going to be excited to go through, identify some other players. We've got some young guys on this list, but of course, before we dive into it, you know exactly what we have to do. We have to give away multiple Fantasy Football Network hats, as we do in every single video. So this first one is going to be coming out to Spyros, who says, happy belated birthday, Mason. It was my son's as well. Thanks for the constant content. I'm 4-1 so far. Thanks to y'all. Say if it wasn't because of us, you'd probably be 5-0, but thank you so much, of course, for the support. Tell your son I said happy birthday. And now our next winner coming out from Taurus Fitness. Long time no see, my friend. Said, hey, Mason, love the content. Been with you for a couple seasons now. Yada, yada, yada. We don't need to read the rest. My man, come out to a live stream. We have not had you out in a live stream in a while. And yeah, 100% just go through and go to the description of the video. Send me that email ASAP with your physical address. That way I can get you your hat. Maybe I can go through, egg your house, TP your house. I don't know. Regardless, just make sure you send me that physical address so I can get that out to you ASAP. And if you want to get entered into win our next Fantasy Football Network hat, subscribe to the channel, drop a like, leave a comment with any question you may have. And also hit that bell next to the subscribe button if you want to get notified when we go live, because I live stream every single day. We have not missed a day of live streaming in like over 100 days now, answering as many questions as possible. Usually we're live for like 3-4 hours at the same time. Now let's go into our buy low video, and let's lead it off with a wide receiver that we called a sell high earlier this offseason, but I'm very impressed with what we have seen from him so far. Jalen Waddle. Now with Jalen Waddle here, yes, he didn't put up the week we thought he would whenever Devontae Parker was ruled out this past week. Sunday morning, whenever Devontae Parker was ruled out, I was like, okay, well, I guess Jalen Waddle is now a must-start wide receiver. This is someone that you're looking at the opportunity he has in his offense, and it's just through the roof. I think we need to be targeting him everywhere we can, and didn't play out that way. This offense, of course, struggled mightily against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but a big thing we have to look at is the fact that while Tua Tagovailoa, he may not be the quarterback that a lot of people thought he was coming out of Alabama. Just remember the hashtag tank for Tua the Miami Dolphins were doing supposedly to get the #1 overall pick. And yeah, I guess Tua is now the third best quarterback, maybe even fourth best if you're looking at Jalen Hurts out of that draft class. But regardless, we can all get on the same page. We can all be in agreement that Tua Tagovailoa is in a completely different league of quarterback with Jacoby Myers here. Jacoby Myers, one of the worst starting quarterbacks in the NFL. I think that he is in consideration alongside Davis Mills, alongside Zach Wilson. And one thing that I get so frustrated with is if I'm calling these quarterbacks bad NFL quarterbacks, if I'm saying the quarterback play in the offensive environment is atrocious, a lot of people want to go and they want to be phone warriors. They want to be warriors in the comment section defending their quarterback. They go, I'm a Jets fan. You clearly don't watch the games. It's not Zach Wilson. It's clearly the offensive line. Zach Wilson is not at fault here at all. Zach Wilson's going to be a great quarterback. Give him 5 years. What the hell does that mean? Does it matter if it's the offensive line? Does it matter if it's the quarterback? No, all that matters is the overall offensive environment that this wide receiver is playing in. And don't try to come out here and tell me that it's not Jacoby Myers. It doesn't matter. With Jacoby Myers here, we can all agree that he's not close to Tua Tagovailoa. And when Tua comes in, you're going to see this overall offense have more first downs, more trips to the red zone. The efficiency will take a sharp uptick going back to what we had back in week 1. Keep in mind, this was a week that you actually had Devontae Parker fully good to go. You had Mike Gesicki good to go. And Jalen Waddle, it was his first week in the NFL. He had an absurd amount of volume. He posted a very impressive stat line as well as week 2. Thomas, please throw him up here. And here you actually have so far on the season with Jalen Waddle, him crushing in this Miami Dolphins offense with the amount of volume that he has had. He's had 36 targets this season. And I'm very surprised. And I'm the first one to admit that I was wrong with Jalen Waddle and the usage and the role that he has for Miami here. And now with Waddle coming into the season, I thought this would be a wide receiver that was primarily stretching the field, creating space underneath for guys like Mike Gesicki, guys like Devontae Parker to possibly just be possession players and that can move the chains. It's almost the exact opposite here, where you actually have Jalen Waddle as the guy that's being close to the line of scrimmage with almost every target that he has. He's the guy running more crossing routes instead of the vertical field stretching routes. So Waddle, you like the usage that he has had in this offense. You like the fact that he is going to continue to progress because keep in mind, this is a wide receiver that just got to the NFL about 5 weeks ago. And at the same time, he's getting his starting quarterback back who has proven that he is going to continue to look in the direction of Jalen Waddle. I mean, 36 targets through 5 games so far. This is best case scenario. Literally, do that math here. I mean, Jalen Waddle is averaging over 7 targets a game so far this season as a rookie. We know that he has the big play potential. He's only had 1 touchdown through 36 targets so far. I'd imagine, based on the speed that Jalen Waddle has, that you're going to see the touchdown rate take a sharp uptick for Waddle sometime in the future. Yeah, I think Waddle probably has to be a buy low. Of course, you're not spending that much on him. You're definitely going to get him at a discount, possibly as a throw-in, but just an intriguing name to go through and add for the bye weeks because we know the depth is about to be a lot more important as you're going to have a considerable amount of players on bye in a very short amount of time. Now, our next wide receiver, I think we have included him on every single buy low video so far. I mean, we have included him on maybe 4 wide receiver buy low videos, and his price just goes down, 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 down. It's been one of our worst calls so far, but I think that you have to separate the results and the process is still there. And now it's a better time to buy than ever. A.J. Brown. Here with A.J. Brown, this is a wide receiver. In week 1, he leads the team with targets with 8 targets. In week 2, he leads the team with targets with 9 targets. Yes, he gets injured in week 3. Yes, he's out week 4. He comes back in week 5, a spot that I was telling everybody to play A.J. Brown. I can't hide from this. I thought A.J. Brown was going to smash the Jacksonville Jaguars. We were saying, okay, he's 100% going to be the lead target getter for this offense, and Jacksonville going up against the Tennessee Titans should be able to put up points where the Titans are going to have to throw the ball consistently. So maybe you see the volume just be there for A.J. Brown where he can get to 8-9 targets this game. He only needs one of those to take that big play that we have seen so many times before his rookie and his sophomore year. Well, he leads the team in targets, but there's only 23 passing attempts to go around, given the fact that the Jacksonville Jaguars offense, I mean, we are talking about how bad the Tennessee Titans defense was, but it doesn't matter. The Jacksonville Jaguars, they have a worse offense than the Tennessee Titans does a defense. I mean, here in week 5, while he only has 6 targets, he does see 27% of his team's target share. So A.J. Brown, if you're looking at him this season, compared to what you had in 2020, compared to what you had in 2019, where in both years you could make the argument that A.J. Brown was a league-winning wide receiver, especially if you're looking at the efficiency that he posted in both seasons as a rookie in the NFL and as a second-year player here. I mean, he was having an argument to be made to be one of the best wide receivers in the NFL in just a few years. Now, I know we've only had 3 weeks, and those 3 weeks have been disappointing of healthy play from A.J. Brown. But if anything, this should tell you, well, it's a small sample. He is getting exactly what you would always want from A.J. Brown, where he is seeing about 24% of his team's targets when he is fully healthy. That's 100% what we want because we know this Tennessee Titans offense, they're built around running the ball effectively, setting up the play action, and then seeing those big plays. A.J. Brown, it's only been 3 fully healthy games. I think that we're going to continue to tell people to start him in week 6. Maybe we get burnt again. I'll be able to continue to call him a buy low player because the opportunity's there. We saw in 2019 and in 2020 that historically you should expect the efficiency to be there as well with A.J. Brown. I think it's just a small sample thing. I think that it's going to get better sooner rather than later. Now, our next wide receiver, I think that here, I mean, he is a clear buy low candidate. We don't really need to discuss this too much. Terry McLaurin this past week really failed a lot of people, but keep in mind, this was an offense that had a very hard time moving the ball down the field. You also had 2 rushing touchdowns from Antonio Gibson. With Terry McLaurin, still, if we're talking about volume here, with the injury to Logan Thomas, with the injury to Diami Brown, this is going to be someone getting everything in the Washington football offense, just like we have seen from the past few seasons. Keep in mind, at the same time, you may have Ryan Fitzmagic coming back in just say 3-4 weeks. If that's going to happen, then that could open up this entire overall offense. Now, if you're looking so far this season, Terry McLaurin hasn't been that efficient on a per target basis. He's had almost 50 targets this year. He's had 29 receptions, 400 receiving yards, 3 receiving touchdowns. Over the past 2 weeks, however, you've seen that that's when he's driving the majority of his production. I mean, he's gotten the majority of his targets in this offense over the past 2 weeks with 24 targets. This is when Logan Thomas is down. I think that now you are going to see this target share literally eclipse 30% every single week for Terry McLaurin. And if he's going to get that kind of opportunity and he is going into year 3 here, this is someone we should expect to take that next jump. And keep in mind, this is coming from someone who had literally possibly the worst call of all time. Like, I know that people are saying in the live stream, they're asking me, Mason, is this the worst call you've ever made? I'm like, I don't know. We made some pretty bad ones. But I'll tell you, the worst call ever made on YouTube for the 2021 fantasy football season was yours truly coming out and talking about Allen Robinson being a significantly better option than Terry McLaurin in the 3rd round. And anybody taking Terry McLaurin over Allen Robinson didn't know what they were doing. Well, now we are seeing, based on this offense, that McLaurin's going to continue to see 30% of his team's targets. He's like doubling the amount of targets that you're getting from Justin Fields. We know that this is a player that has an elite talent profile. So if the volume is there, he will be productive. Over the next few weeks, he's playing the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are currently 2-3, mainly centered around the idea that they cannot stop anybody on the defensive side of the ball. And then they're going to go up against the Green Bay Packers. Maybe with the Packers, you'd be a little bit worried about Jair Alexander. Well, Jair Alexander, he's hurt. So I think that over the next 2 weeks, you're going to have great matchups for Terry McLaurin. I mean, with the Chiefs, you just saw Emmanuel Sanders put up 30-plus points. I don't know the exact number, but it was a lot. And then you also saw Jamar Chase put up approximately 30 million points against the Green Bay Packers. So I think over the next 2 weeks, you will see Terry McLaurin vault up into possibly being a top 6 wide receiver in fantasy. And I know it's painful to say that, especially when I do not have Terry McLaurin on that many rosters just because we were drafting Allen Robinson of all players over him. Now, our next wide receiver we are going to include here will be T. Higgins. Now, with T. Higgins, this is a solid option to go through and buy at a discount because yes, he comes back from that shoulder injury this past week. So T. Higgins, I mean, really hasn't been that productive in about a month now. And what you're looking at with T. Higgins is a wide receiver that didn't play as many snaps as you would come to expect in future weeks back in week 5 because he wasn't 100% from the shoulder injury. He only played 47 snaps. You compare this to Jamar Chase. You compare this to Tyler Boyd. I mean, not nearly up at their same levels. But even with those only 47 snaps, he was able to demand 8 targets in this offense, which if you're looking at a fantasy points per target standpoint, still not that great. Like the efficiency isn't through the roof here or anything, but you'd imagine that he is going to take some of this volume away from Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase isn't going to be coming away with 150 plus receiving yards every single week. I mean, if Jamar Chase continues to be able to get over the safeties, if he's able to just continually just get behind those safeties and Joe Burrow is able to find him on those deep balls, you're going to see opposing defenses have to completely change their game plan to make sure that they are shutting down Jamar Chase, and they have to limit those big plays that will free T. Higgins up on the outside as more so the possession wide receiver. This next week, we'd imagine that he would see more snaps than Tyler Boyd. He's already seeing targets at a heavy rate on a per snap basis. The Cincinnati Bengals offense, they have shown us that in games that are going to be competitive and games that they may not necessarily have the ability to just go through and run the ball, then they are willing to lean on the pass a little bit more. So yeah, I think T. Higgins, a very intriguing option here if you want to bet on this Cincinnati Bengals passing offense at a discount. Keep in mind, this is a year 2 player who was hyper productive back his rookie season, still very young. He should continue to progress, as well as this entire overall offense in Cincinnati. Now, our next wide receiver here is one of the easiest buy low calls of all time, Keenan Allen. Now, with Keenan Allen, I've made the mistake over the past few weeks of ranking Keenan Allen higher than Mike Williams in our rest of season rankings over there on Patreon. I promise you, Mike Williams is moving over him now. And with Keenan Allen, this is a wide receiver that I still think is a fantastic buy low option. Because what is the principle that we really live on? I mean, if you're watching our videos and you're so tired of hearing me talking about the opportunity of these players in their respective offenses, and you're going, Mason, can you not talk about their jukes? Can you not talk about their spin moves? Can you not talk about how dynamic they are on the football field? Can you not talk about what you saw on the TV screen on Sunday? No, I'm not going to talk about that because I'm not an NFL scout. Nobody you're watching on YouTube is an NFL scout, so you're just kidding yourself if you're trying to say, oh, I need to be drafting this player because, I mean, he looked a little shiftier between the tackles. No. What we need to be doing is we need to be looking at historical efficiency rates with what we've been finding from these players. We need to be looking at the roles that they currently have in their offenses. We need to look at the efficiency that we have seen from the quarterback and the overall offensive environment in general and understand how it's all going to play out at the end with the numbers based behind it. And with Keenan Allen here, we know that historically this is a wide receiver that's going to have an incredibly high catch rate. We know that he's going to get a decent amount of usage in the red zone here. And Justin Herbert has proven so far through the first 2 years that this Chargers offense, you want as many pieces as you can get because they're going to be scoring touchdowns at a high rate. They're going to be picking up first downs. They're going to be able to effectively move the ball down the field. And Keenan Allen still has his usual role. Keenan Allen still getting a ridiculous amount of work in this offense. He's had 53 targets so far this year. He's had 34 receptions, 369 receiving yards. So you're looking at it, you're saying, okay, well, the efficiency isn't really there. 53 targets, only 369 receiving yards. What do we know about fantasy football? That in a small sample, you're not wanting to bet on efficiency. Efficiency is going to be going up and down, up and down, up and down throughout the season. What's going to remain steady is that volume. That's what you want to be betting on. So I am very impressed that he's been able to see over 10 targets a game. I mean, even with him only having, what is 369 divided by 53? I mean, he can't have that high of a yards per target, probably centering around, say 7.5 yards per target. My math in my head is probably embarrassing me. But anyway, you're also looking at the fact that he's only had one receiving touchdown. That number is going to go up. I mean, if he continues to get 10 targets a game with the overall environment that he is in currently, I know Mike Williams is this alpha wide receiver all of a sudden, but it's not like Mike Williams and Austin Eckler are going to continue to score every single touchdown in this offense. If Keenan Allen's seeing 10 targets a game, those touchdowns are going to go in the way of Allen. So no, right now he's like a mid, low-end wide receiver 2 in some formats. I think this is still a wide receiver 1 rest of the season. I think Mike Williams and Keenan Allen can each be a wide receiver 1 in fantasy just based on how productive overall you're going to get this Los Angeles Chargers offense. Now, the easiest way to go through and identify a buy low wide receiver is let's go see who has the most targets in the NFL without scoring a single touchdown, because we know the touchdowns are on the horizon. They are coming very soon. This next guy, Jacoby Myers, is that player. I mean, here he's had 46 targets so far this year. So Jacoby Myers averaging 9 targets a game, almost 10 targets a game. And he's had a whopping 0 touchdowns. But if you're looking at the snaps every single week from Jacoby Myers, if you're looking at the fact that this is a wide receiver that's drawing targets at a high rate, he is clearly the alpha wide receiver in New England. And he's been decent, just considering the fact that this overall offensive environment isn't one that you want to be betting into that much. I think that it's probably going to get better when we get the New England Patriots offensive line a little healthier, because, I mean, that's kind of the thesis with how this New England Patriots team is going to thrive their offense. We know they're never investing a significant amount into the wide receiver position. We know they're never going to be able to go through and just rack up the best skill positional players in the NFL, because they pour almost all of the resources that they have into fixing around this offensive line, and that's how they're structuring this offense. This past week, you actually had 4 out of the 5 offensive linemen for the New England Patriots missing from this starting unit. I mean, with them coming back, I would expect that this New England Patriots offense is able to more effectively move the ball down the field. I know it was a great matchup against the Houston Texans. I played Jacoby Myers in a lot of my own leagues. I advise a lot of people to do the same. Didn't necessarily work out that well, but I mean, the volume, the opportunity, the role was still there in this offense. I think it was more so the lack of efficiency from Mac Jones in an offense that we thought was going to be hyper efficient against a very bad defense. But yeah, here with Jacoby Myers, definitely going to be an intriguing buy low candidate at this time, just given the fact that it can only go up from here if he's going to continue to see this many targets per game. Now, thank you. I really hope you all enjoyed this video. Please go down there, drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. Of course, every time you drop that like, leave a comment, you get entered in to win a Fantasy Flock Network hat. And make sure you hit the bell next to the subscribe button. That way, whenever we go live, which we go live every single day, you're not going to miss it. You can come out, you can hang out in the chat. I'll answer your question. You can talk with some other people there. And that's all I got for y'all, and have a great day.